What's up, Archons? I'm Flightless Pheasant, and yesterday Ghost Galaxy put up the Vault Tour 2025 Las Vegas results. I try to cover Vault Tour results, but I've missed a few, as some of you might notice, and I was like, oh yeah, they must have put up the KFC results. No, I forgot we hadn't done Vegas yet. So let's go through them and see what it looks like. I have previewed this article before, so I already have an idea of what we're going to be seeing, but I haven't gone through it in detail. So let's pour through it a little bit, see what Vault Tour Vegas looked like. So, for the third consecutive year, Alexis Park Resort, our hotel partner in Las Vegas, hosted Keyforge for a Vault Tour stop. Braving the intense heat of the desert, 60 players came together to find out who would seize the ultimate Keyforge title, Vault Warrior. Yeah, I didn't go to Vegas this year. Last year was plenty. It was hot. It was awful. They couldn't keep the water stocked. It was like 110 degrees. It was hell. I'm not doing that again. I'm sorry. Vegas is off of my Vault Tour list, barring, I don't know what. I don't know. Incredible circumstance driving me back, I guess. 3 tournaments were completed across the weekend in each of Keyforge's competitive formats: Sealed, Archon, and Alliance. Champions who did not already hold the Vault Warrior title attained it and were awarded an invite to the 2025 World Championships in November, in addition to all other prizes. All right. A font of amber in the desert. 3 champions were able to seize amber from the barren desert sand to clinch victory in one of 3 major tournaments that took place over the weekend. Several players succeeded in securing leading positions in multiple formats, demonstrating that skill truly transcends from one form to another. Numerous players who had previously reached the top cuts before Las Vegas also made additional appearances, including another first-place victory for Flaming Hobo. Well done. Excuse me. We introduced another set of decks to the Hall of the Ascended, with special accolades to show off their accomplishments. As a reminder, Ascension removes these decks from organized play until the World Championships. Ascended decks at the tournament did show up to Worlds Ready to Rumble. More on that in the pending Keyforge Celebration recap article. Eventually, right? On to our glorious tradition, Archons, as we honor the accomplishment of our victors. Yes, let's do that. Let's honor the accomplishment of our victors. So in Sealed, they had 56 players on Friday to kick off the event, proving that Sealed still remains the top Keyforge competitive format. So balanced sets for Sealed, then. Sidebar, but Prophetic Visions is not balanced for Sealed. Fix it. Or don't, I guess, since Sealed is now moving on very soon to draconian measures. So I guess whatever. But that's one of the frustrations with Sealed being like the top competitive format, is they don't fix anything fast enough to affect Sealed. So if things are unbalanced or problematic, they just stay unbalanced and problematic through the entire season during which they're played in Sealed. But hopefully that'll slow down a little and we won't get quite as much of that because they'll be focusing exclusively, well, not exclusively, they'll be focusing much more tightly on their core set releases. So hopefully that will fix that. Also, I have a suggestion. If you're going to have 2 core sets a year and one of them is going to have a really balanced and fun Sealed experience and the other one is going to be designed to help fix problems in Archon and therefore have kind of an unbalanced and unfun Sealed experience, you should probably make sure the one with the fun Sealed experience is the one that comes out in the second half of the year closer to KFC, and the one that balances Archon is the one that comes out in the first half of the year further away from KFC, so that players who play Archon have more time to toy around with the things that have balanced Archon, even though they're not very fun in Sealed, and Sealed players who show up to KFC can play a fun and balanced Sealed environment where the slot machine effect isn't as strong as it was for Prophetic Visions. I've got thoughts and opinions. Surprise to all. Alright, so final Keyforge Prophetic Visions was used at a Vault Tour in 2025, leading to some robust pod selection and strategies. Yeah, because everybody had already figured out what to do. Players competed using 1 to 3 sealed decks. Decks were constructed using the Alliance deck mechanics. Sealed allows players to swap pods from the decks between rounds. Because of this, they do not have detailed breakdown of how to use pod selection or top cards for this tournament. Fair enough. Flaming Hobo won. Well done. Quokes? Kyoke? I tried. Okay, I tried. Got second. Ewok Jr. and SC Steel were top 4. Logan Composer, Speed Paced, Miggy, and Captain Crispy were top 8. All incredible players. Well done, everybody. All right. Going into Archon. Keyforge Prophetic Visions was the favorite of many of the 44 participating in Archon tournament on Saturday. While it did manage to be the set that bested the tournament, it had about the expected number of decks in the top 8. Keyforge Tokens of Change did quite well, considering it was only represented by 4 players, and it turns out there's at least one Call of the Archons deck that can compete with the newest decks. Here's the complete field breakdown. Okay. Those of you who think that the metric that matters for Archon is conversion, that is to say, is there a similar percentage of decks in the field of a specific set as in the top 8 of a specific set? I disagree vitriolically. I disagree vehemently. I disagree with every single drop of my lifeblood. That is not the metric you need to care about, especially when measuring a new set. When a new set is entered into the field, what you need to pay attention to is how is it doing compared to the current field. And the best metric we currently have for that is top 8 percentage. Now, granted, if Prophetic Visions makes up 41% of the field and wins 50% of the top 8, that doesn't seem too bad. But if it's every single one of the top 4, like, in my opinion, at the very least, if you're going to use conversion as your metric, which I still don't think you should, but if you're going to use conversion as your metric, you should weight the results in favor of higher positions in the top 8. Right? Because decks that are higher in the top 8 had to win more games and more rounds than decks that are lower in the top 8. Right? So, if Prophetic Visions, like, you could use like a point system. You could say like being in position 5 through 8 is worth 1 point. Being in position 3 or 4 is worth 2 points. Being runner-up is worth 3 points, and being champion is 5 points, because that's about how many games you had to win to get into those positions, beyond the games you had to win to get into the top 8 in the first place, which we should count those, but let's say we don't. All right? So a deck being the winner, that set gets 5 points for winning, 3 points for runner-up, 2 points for third, 2 points for fourth, and by that metric, Prophetic Visions stomped the absolute bejeebus out of everybody else by winning first, second, third, and fourth. And I don't think that's unreasonable, because those decks had to win more games to get into those positions. We can't balance every single top 8 equally and say all the positions of the top 8 are equally representative of the capability of this set. No, some decks had to win more in harder fights towards the end in order to get into those higher positions. And so if conversion is your metric, you have to wait for top 8 position. And if you wait for top 8 position, Prophetic Visions wildly overperformed. Wildly overperformed. And I don't think that's an unfair way to go about it, an unfair way to look at it, an unfair way to think about it. And the reason that these older sets are doing well is because you're going up against the cream of the crop of those older sets. Decks that have been tested time and time and time again by players who've played them over and over and over and over again. I mean, some of the names of these decks I'm seeing in the bottom 4 of this top 8, these are real contenders who play these decks continuously. And those decks are a benchmark. But if you're soaring above that benchmark, that's a concern. That's something to keep an eye on. I don't know. I just think that we look at these metrics wrong, and we think about them wrong. Prophetic Visions is overperforming. And I'm willing to bet that when we see the KFC numbers, that'll be even more clear than it is here. I don't know that. I wasn't paying attention during Archon at KFC. Maybe Prophetic Visions did terribly, and I just didn't notice. Maybe the only reason Prophetic Visions did well here is because so many of the decks that it would have been competing against from other sets had already ascended. I don't know, but I have a feeling that that's not going to end up being what it looks like. But we'll see when they get around to putting out the KFC numbers. Okay, so final breakdowns. So The other thing is Dis, Logos, and Shadows have been the favorite houses combination since players have settled into playing Keyforge Prophetic Visions. This tournament did not rock the boat in that regard. Notably, Saurian and Mars edged up in ranking since their last appearance. Here's the house breakdown. Logos, Dis, Shadows, dominating. Geistoid close behind. That's your Grim Reminders and your Amber Skies. Mars and Saurian. Mars is more Grim Reminders and Amber Skies, and Saurian is a backup house for Prophetic Visions. Let's go over the winners, because I did that before and I should do it again. So Admiral Failvdun got first, and Medela, Changeling of the Plaza. Oh, these are the deck names. Sorry, I should go. Display got first. Captain Crispy got second. Vargast and Am516 were in top 4. And then Orion, Dr. Sheep, Seika, and Drazkor were top 8. And if we look at cards that were most frequently played, we see Infernus and In Here Somewhere topping the charts. In Here Somewhere topping the charts again. Reiteration, yeah, that makes sense. Parasitic Arachnoid, Strug, Wild Wormhole, A Gift of Amber, Bandit Culver, Hazard Zerp, and Junk Restoration. Some of our usual suspects, though not like completely condemningly overbearing. So, all right. And we go into Alliance. If we look at Alliance, we're going to see kind of a similar story, except maybe even a little bit worse. I don't know. The numbers on Alliance are always so small. The field's just so tiny, it's a little hard to know. But Alliance ran simultaneously with Archon due to logistical constraints. Even so, 13 players joined the tournament in lieu of the Archon format. These constitutes running a top 8 according to the latest tournament rules and guidelines. No particular set to beat in this field, although Prophetic Visions saw all but one deck enter the top 8, as did Tokens of Change. Grim Reminders ultimately claimed the championship, piloted by Thytium. The entire field was like this. Okay. So Thytium got first, Liquid Squash got second, SC Steel and Aviator were top 4, Miggy, Jace, Sophlaitis, and Dragon Master were top 8. I didn't know Sophlaitis got to play. Wow, awesome. That's super cool. Okay, so as was the case with Archon, Dis and Logos were very much part of the top houses, but Untamed had a wild upswing in overall percentage of the field. House representation was definitely less varied in this field, though, and ultimately ended up being Dis and Untamed really high, then Logos, Star Alliance, and so on. Yeah, Shadows is less of a thing in Alliance because you tend to win by combo, and so you don't really need strong Amber control like you do in Archon. Most played cards: Infernus, Nature's Call, Punctuated Equilibrium, Dark Minion, Subtle Auto, Forsaken, Banish, Calm Officer Kirby, Cosmic Recompense, and Fangtooth Cavern. Yeah, Cosmic Recompense, 4 Cosmic Recompenses, 4 Prophetic Vision decks. You do the math. Actually, that might not be the case. Nope, 6 Star Alliance, yep. Yeah, I don't know. Alliance has gotten away from me by a mile. I don't even know what to say on Alliance. I don't know if this is good, bad, or otherwise. It just is. They've got the more extended tournament data. We've chosen to share all of the data related to tournament qualification rounds with the community. The top cut data is shown above. Our aim is for this information to enhance the comprehensive range of community-driven tools available for Keyforge. We've taken steps to eliminate any personally identifiable information and safeguard the true identities of players. To download the CSV for the specific tournament, please click the corresponding button below. Yeah, so I think there's ways to interpret data to get a better idea of whether a set is overpowered or not, but I think conversion as a raw metric unmodified is a terrible way to do it, and I am not enough of a metrics and numbers guy to figure it out myself. Unfortunately, I have some ideas on how you might go about it, but unfortunately, I'm just not a statistician. But yeah, everybody's been talking about conversion being the number. I think that that's completely wrong. I think that's wrong-headed. It does not actually reflect how dominant a set is or isn't in a totality, because it's not equal, because all of the top 8 positions are not equal. They do not represent an equal level of challenge to each other. Does that make sense? I'm not being crazy. I think that makes sense. Okay. Second Amber. Players who got knocked out of the main tournament on Friday and Saturday could participate in Second Amber tournaments, where they could earn a chance to win a variety of prizes, including sealed Keyforge decks, tokens, and deck boxes. Second Amber was not as well attended as it was in Baltimore or Portland, but it was still popular. Almost 85% of eliminated players joined Second Amber. A combined total of 51 players competed in 122 games across the weekend. One player had more wins than anyone else across all time slots, and that was Evasion. Thanks for playing, everyone. Oh yeah, absolutely. Do that. Side events. Crucible Clash was shown off in a side event on Sunday. No! They did Crucible Clash? God, we should have been doing Crucible Clash this whole freaking tournament season, and they finally do it. And it's at the freaking Vault Tour I didn't go to. Okay. I'm fine. It's fine. I'm fine. It was shown off at the side event on Sunday, the Crucible Clash Throwdown. This was a 3-round mini-tournament where players opened and played a single sealed Crucible Clash deck. 26 players participated in the side events. Congratulations to our undefeated players. Player 3463927, Colton E. and Sneck. Well done, all. Finals for Sealed Archon and Alliance were all streamed live for games and stuff, with a nice private room for us to keep the noise down for the commentary we could provide. Check all of the amazing games on Keyforge Action over on the Ghost Galaxy YouTube. Unfortunately, we could not provide commentary with all of our coverage, but we were able to get some community members to help out once they were eliminated. Big thanks to Gorlami, Dave C, Drazcor, Orion, and Flaming Hobo. Check out Day 3 coverage in the article, in this article, and if you're hungry for more, please go to our YouTube page to see the rest. Subscribe to see future content while you're there, and be sure to give our videos a like. More recaps to come. We still have our 2025 National Championships and Keyforge Celebration 2025 recaps, and close our Keyforge 2025 Organized Play season. Thanks for bearing with us, and continue as we continue to write and release these articles, and we hope you enjoy hearing about the accomplishments of your fellow players. See you in the Crucible. I do really love seeing these. These are great articles. I'm glad that they do them. I tongue-in-cheek am a little, critical of how long it takes, but I get it, right? Creative process, long process. It takes a long time to do, even just a simple video like this. So I get it. Thank you guys so much for all you do. If you wanted to hear me rant and ramble about things that I wanted to rant and ramble about, then this was the video for you. I've got some other videos coming in the near future, so keep your eyes open. I'm going to try to get some more stuff out before holidays really choke down on me and I don't have the ability to do other things. But for now, that's all I have for you today. So until next time, later, Archons.